Hello.
Hey, hello, is this Rick?
Yes, this me.
Hey, Rick, this is Tommy Bryson. The call's gonna be recorded and potentially uploaded. Cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
How can I help?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, hey man, before I get started, I just want to tell you, man, I appreciate your content on
Thank you, bro.
YouTube. You definitely changed my perspective on money and how to, move it around and what to do with it.
Thank
So
you.
I just wanted to start out like that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. But I DM'd you about the M1 Finance. I got my daughter an account with ACORN.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, does M1 Finance have a custodial account where I can transfer her account over?
Okay, so how much money do you have in this account in M1 Finance? I mean, in Acorns?
She has $4,000.
Okay. Now, the very first thing is, before I go into detail about how I invest and so on, is that basically the main reason I recommend people to switch from Acorns to M1 Finance, sometimes, depending on who you actually are, what you're interested in. The cool thing about Acorns is basically everything is fully automated. They have cool features. For example, every time you spend money, they invest the rest for you. They have their own portfolio. What I personally did not like about Acorns was basically that they had way too much control. Meaning, for example, if they wanted to switch the investments out, they could if they wanted to. And that would be a problem for me, because you might have $4,000 today, but what happens, for example, 10 years later when you have, for example, 20,000 or 40K, right? And if it switches the investments around, that could be a problem. But even in this case, right, because you probably have, for example, a 529 account, so you won't get taxed. But for normal taxable accounts, I just don't like it. And on top of that, also, if I want to open up an account, for example, and I want to have a certain portfolio, I don't want them to keep switching back and forth and doing a bunch of things. I want to keep that for long-term basis. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, because I remember the content you put on YouTube about when you were switching over and how you did, like how they did it, and stuff like that. So
and the main thing here, I'll be honest with you, Rick. The main thing is, I don't know how they're moving now as far as, for example, transferring investments maybe from a custodial account over, for example, to a 529 account with M1 Finance. By the way, M1 Finance also has that, so don't worry about that. They do have it. But the main problem is, last time I was with Acorns, I think they charge you, don't quote me on this, between $50 to $75 per share that you were going to actually transfer over. Not per share, like per investment. So if you had, for example, 7 ETFs and you're going to transfer those over, that means 7 times 50. So we're talking about, so that's almost $350. So for you, and also for me at the time, that was going to be like a big chunk of money. So I was like, what the heck am I supposed to do now? So what I did was, instead of doing that, I just liquidated and called it a day.
Okay.
Because, by the way, you have a custodial account for your daughter, or do you have, for example, a 529 account for your daughter? And do you know the difference?
If I'm not familiar with the 529, is that for the college?
Yes, because that's
yeah.
How old is your daughter?
She's 12 now.
Yeah,
she'll be 13 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so so all you want to have for your daughter is a 529 account, honestly, because once she turns 18, you just want to make sure the money goes towards the right things, which in this case is going to be education, right? That's what you want it for? Yeah. So you can have that money, for example, in a 529 account, and if I'm not mistaken, M1 Finance does offer that. So what would that mean for you, right? It would mean if Acorns is charging you way too much money to have the whole thing set up. They do have a custodial account right here. So here it is. They have custodial account. If you have M1 Finance Plus, open a taxable account for a minor. Ownership of this account will need to be transferred when the minor reaches the age of maturity, right? So they also have a custodial account, so you could do that with M1 Finance, which is cool. But most likely, I wouldn't even do that either, because you need M1 Finance Plus, which costs you extra money per year. I don't want that to happen to you. So I would just probably open up a 529 account with Vanguard or Fidelity, which is free, and you can assure that that money is going to be used for education and nothing else, which is basically most likely what you want, right, as a parent.
Yeah. I mean, what I was, just to give you a little background.
Go ahead.
What I wanted to do is do something like that, because do something like what you just said as far as college.
Yeah.
But then again, I wanted, you know, say for instance, she doesn't want to go to college.
Say for instance, she starts doing
something.
drugs and he finds his boyfriend that's all messed up in the head. Do you want to have her get all that money?
Yeah, no. What I'm saying, no, when it gets to it, when she gets close to 18, I had planned on putting it in a trust. You know, so I can kind of spoon feed her the money. You understand what I'm saying?
It's too complicated.
Or am I saying this wrong?
Yeah. Well, what I would do is basically, right, the first thing is this, okay? What you want to create is an independent adult, right, that can actually do things the correct way. So if she, by the way, 529 account, I don't think that's just for college, it's for continuing education. So that can mean, for example, most likely a licensed trade school, whatever it is. But it's about being able to do something with that money. There is going to be a penalty if it's not used for that, which is fine. But if you just want to have it, for example, in a taxable account, just to make sure, just put it in a taxable account in your name. And then when the time comes, for example, you could just transfer the money over to her if you want to do that.
Okay.
Right?
So,
but then that way you don't run the problem with this idea is, I'll be honest with you, Rick, is that if you do what you wanted to do, you're gonna put it in a taxable account, which then negates the idea of having this money grow fully tax free. That's the main benefit here. So that's why I would recommend a 529 account, because you get the tax benefit, because this money is going to grow tax-free and there won't be any penalties as long as this money is going to be used for the right reasons. Now, you have one daughter, or you're going to have more kids or whatever?
Nah, I'm gonna let you know, I'm 48, and I have a 12-year-old. My other two, I have twins, and they 27. So, you know, they you know, I've set them up and they doing their thing. And I'm about to have a baby on the way, and I'm about to, you know, try to get.
So you're about to have another kid, right? Basically.
Yes.
Yeah, just have a 529 account, because the 529 account doesn't just have to be for her, but it can be, for example, for another kid that you do have if they want to go to college or whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah.
So what should I do?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
So what should I do with the ACORN account that I have already set up for?
I would cut my losses. Cut my losses.
Okay.
So that's what I would do. The great thing is basically that you only have $4,000 and you don't have $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000 in there. And on top of that, me personally, when I had a bunch of money in there, which I had I think it was like 9,000, 15, I don't know, some weird amount of money. But even if I sold, I knew I'd be taxed on it. But I'd rather sell now, take my L this way, but then have that money somewhere else that I'm going to have full control and also full trust over. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, because the main thing is, if you're not really happy with Acorns, by the way, I don't want to get sued. Disclaimer, it's just my opinion. If you don't want to get, if you're not really happy with Acorns, and you know you're not gonna be happy, then why leave money there and let it compound to a certain amount, and then you have extra problems in the future. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you recommend me just basically taking with my account. I'm planning on moving it over to M1 Finance, and just with her account, you're saying take that money.
You can't move over your money to M1 Finance either if you have Acorns, because it's gonna cost you way too much money. So if you have 6 to 7 ETFs in there, which is usually what they use is ETFs, and they're still charging $50 per share, that's around $300 to $350 just to transfer over the account. That process should be free, and often the entire market price is going to be $75, but they're charging way too much money for this stuff to prevent people actually moving out. When I was there, I don't know how the rules are now, so you want to call in and find out. But if that's what's going on, I'm cutting my losses, I'm selling, and I'm using that money to just start a new account somewhere else. So if it's money for my kids to actually go to school, and that's what the money is for, then I'm putting that in a 529 account. If it's money that I want to have and maybe potentially have my kids inherit in the future, I'm putting it, for example, into my retirement accounts. Now, before we continue the investment, because I can tell that you're very excited about investing, do you have any debt?
Only debt I have one credit card debt, and that's it's only $2,500, and it's zero interest for 18 months. Because what I've been doing, kind of to get you a little background of me myself, I was renting for a while. Waited till I purchased the house, got myself debt free. Then once I purchased the house, Yeah, I'm a certified TIG welder, and so I have to get up early in the morning. So I did a lot of improvements security wise for my wife, and she has a daughter, and then I have a daughter, and we both have we have a daughter together, and
Okay.
so I did some improvements to the house. So I added on some extra debt, and when really I added on some extra debt, and
All right, so
so
let's
I
stop
got that.
there. Let's stop there, right? I want you to list your debt. You have a credit card debt, $2,500. What else do you have? You have any car loan?
That's it.
No. Okay,
No,
that's it.
I pay my truck off in March.
Okay, and your mortgage is how much?
And I
How much?
and I listened to what you said. I had a 30-year. I got a free grant for $15,000. It was a 30-year fix, and I just refinanced it, and they should be wrapping it up here in a couple of weeks. So I got it down to 15 years, and I'm only and it only went up $70. So I'm paying basically $1,000 now. So now when this comes through, I'll be paying $1,070 on it, and it said 3, and I lowered my interest rate from 4.7 to a 3.
Okay. All right, so great for that. Now, let me ask you a question. Before you refinanced, how much time, how long did you have this house for? How long were you paying for?
A year and a half. I was just in
Okay.
it for a year and a half.
Not bad. When you refinanced, you took cash out to do some renovations, you said?
No. When I was renting, I was paying off my debt, and then I got debt free, and then
Yes.
so all that extra money that I was using, I was saving it because I thought I was going to have to come up with a down payment. But then they had a program for new home buyers for $15,000 grant. As long as I stay in the house for 5 years, I don't have to pay the grant back.
Okay.
So I took advantage of that, and so it dropped my house from 128 to 117, and then and then once the refinance, and so I listen to your content on YouTube. You said don't have a 30-year, try to get it at a 15. So I was like, okay. I did my research, and they was like, well, as long as you ain't been in the house a long period of time, and really, like I said, I've been in it for a year and a half, and so I was like, okay, it's cool for me to refinance.
How much do you want in this house?
Right now I'm 111.
Where do you live?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay. And what's your income per month?
I get about $3,000 a month.
On the low end. On the low end.
No, it fluctuates because ever since the pandemic started, I've been working 60 hours. Well, no, let me take that back. Yeah, about 60 hours a week, and I've been doing that for a year and up
on
to
the
this
low
point
end. How
now.
much do you make per month on the low end?
About $2,500.
Okay. Does your wife work or no?
Yes, and she brings in about another $2,000, so it's about $4,000 a month.
4,500.
Yes.
Okay. Now, with the math of the 33% rule, this means that your budget could be 4,000 multiplied by 0.33. It's around 1,320, right? On housing you should be spending. That's your budget. Don't spend more than that. But here's what interests me, right? You decided to refinance, which is a great deal here. And you only went up by around $70, not bad. But my question is, you put nothing down, so do you still have PMI?
Well, with me refinancing, it takes that off.
With you refinancing, it takes off PMI?
Yeah.
What, do you have built-in equity now?
Yes, because I was paying extra.
You fixed it up.
Yeah.
So you fixed it up and managed to get 20% in equity?
Yes. So
you owe $111,000 on this property, but how much is it worth?
It's worth. We're doing the refinance. I got an appraisal, and it went from basically I think it was like 149, 150.
Okay. Let me just run some quick numbers here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. So you got rid of PMI by being very very cool with that stuff by doing your own repairs.
Me personally, I'm a thinker.
Yeah.
And the reason why I am a thinker is because I did grow up with, I had dyslexia. So, and so I knew I had to learn different from other kids.
Yeah.
So I just brought that into everything I do. And so when I try to do something, I try to strategize it. And so I did my research and stuff like that. And like I said, I listen to you and I read and do stuff like that. And so, you know, and like I tell my daughter, finances and your money, it's a game. And you just got to learn how to play the game. And so I'm just, you know, learning how to play the game without, you know, doing nothing illegal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. So here, if I were you right now, I have a daughter. She's 12 years old. I have another one coming in. My wife works. I work. So we have a decent income, $4,000 per month. We also have, for example, this property. PMI is not, don't have to worry about it. I have the taxes, the insurance, the HOA. You have a HOA or no?
No.
You have any cash?
Yes, I have and that was another question I was going to ask you. But yeah, I do have 9,900, and then we'll get back to the question I wanted to ask you on that. I have savings, and then I have a play money type savings, and I have $1,000 right now for that.
Okay. What else do you have?
And so, I have a 401k through my job.
All right, stop there. Okay. So here's what I would do. If I have $10,000, I mean $11,000 a year, because you have like this play money. There's no play money right now. So if I have $11,000 and I am you right now, the first thing I'm gonna do is write a check and pay off this credit card. I'm done there. Boom. Right?
Okay.
Second thing is I'm gonna use the rest of the money to save for 3 to 6 months worth of emergencies. You have another daughter in the way, so this is important, right? So this means I'm gonna calculate my monthly budget, multiply it by 3 or multiply it, for example, by 6 and save up that money, for example, in a separate account. Don't worry about that money making you money. That money is just there in case anything goes wrong. You can't work. Your wife can't work. You got a problem. You have 6 months worth of expenses to take care of all the bills and the mortgage for 6 months while you go ahead and find another job. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now that we have, for example, by the way, a budget at this point should just be, for example, the essentials. You have, for example, shelter, utilities, groceries, and lastly, transportation. Good for you, you don't have a car payment anymore. So keep it like that. If your wife wants a car, you buy a used vehicle for cash. Don't get into any more debt. That's the core idea here. This third step is you start to invest money. That is, for example, 10 to 20% into your retirement accounts, plus an additional 5% if you want to for a 529 account for your kids. So for example, you want to do 15% for yourself plus 5%. That means you're investing 20%, right? So 15% goes into your retirement, your 401k, your Roth IRA, and that stuff. The other 5% can go, for example, into a 529 account for your kids. The rest of the money left over, I would use that money to pay it all extra, every single dime extra, towards this mortgage to be done with it a lot faster. How old are you again? You're 40 what?
48.
Yeah, so you're 48 years old. I'd rather you be done with this entire mortgage instead of taking, for example, until you are, for example, 63 years old in 15 years. I'd rather you be done, for example, in, let's just say, in 8 years. So you're only 56 years old. Once the mortgage is fully done, you're able to have all this extra income. By the way, that saves you around 7 years, okay, which is amazing. You're able to use all this money, right? You keep investing at 20%, which is fine. But all the extra money you would spend, for example, on the mortgage, plus extra payments, all that money can go towards vacation, having fun, doing whatever you want to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I would do. So for right now, I pause on I write a check, pay off this debt, done. Save for emergencies, 3 to 6 months. In my case, I like 6 months, so I have 6 months. And then once I'm done with that, put that in a separate account so you're not tempted to actually use it. And then start investing automatically 10 to 20% into retirement accounts. If, for example, your employer gives you like a Roth 401k option, do the Roth option. If they don't, but they give you a match, get the maximum match from them, take the rest of your money, and then put that into your Roth IRA. If you have left money over, you can put that back into your 401k, that's fine. And then while you're doing this, you never stop investing, by the way. Make it automated. The rest of the money, you can then go, and by the way, you can have an M1 Finance, you have a Roth IRA, You can have your 401k with your employer. That's separate. But M1 Finance automatically takes the money from your account, so everything is done automatically for you. The rest of the money left over from your budget, put it towards this home. Pay it off a lot faster. That way you are done with it. That's the idea.
Okay. Yeah, that was my plan.
Yeah. What was your question though?
And so when you saying putting extra, are you saying try to do it every month? Because like I said,
every time I get paid.
Okay, so every time I got you.
I don't listen, when it comes money for bills, I don't like to let it like gash out, right? Because if you do it every month, but then all of a sudden your wife needs money to buy something, well, use this money, honey. You want to do it every single time you get paid. That way you don't have to worry about it or think about it. So that's why it's so important you have a good budget. Now, when we get more complicated into my budget has, for example, 6 accounts. You have, for example, emergencies. That's going to be fully maxed out on your part. You have investments. At the moment, when you're saving for emergencies, you're not investing. You have debts. That's going to be 0% once you're fully debt free. Then you have expenses, and then lastly you have fun, and then you have charity. Some people are Christians, so they give away 10%, which is fine. In your case, if you're not doing that, then that's fine also. But the idea is the whole goal is to manage your money in a sense where you don't mix it up. So the main expenses are going to be, for example, shelter, utilities, transportation, and groceries. That's it. When it comes to fun, you can do 1% to 2%, but no more than that, because at this moment, your priority is basically paying off this home as fast as possible. And once you are 56 years old, with, for example, your 2 daughters and a bunch of extra money and no monthly payment, that is going to be amazing. Make sense?
So you saying I shouldn't? So you saying I should quit? Or are you saying pay extra on the house and stop investing?
No, listen to me clearly, right?
Take a little bit.
You have a budget, right? Let's say you have $1,000 budget per month. That's how much money you actually make. That's your income. You have 6 accounts. You have, for example, you have the emergency account. That account is gonna have, for example, 6 months worth. Okay, so no money is taken out of that $1,000. It's already fully funded. Then you have the investment account. For the investment money of your entire salary of $1,000, you grab 10 to 20% and you invest it right away automatically. So what do you have left over? If you do 20%, you have $800 left over, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the debt. You're gonna have 0 debt, right? Everything except the mortgage. In this case, you have 0% in there. Then you have expenses. That's going to be around half or 70% of your income. That means, for example, you're still gonna have between 10 to 20 to 30% money left over once you're done with the expenses. Then you have fun. That's only 1%, right? So you still have money left over. You have charity. That's only 1%. You still have money left over. The leftover money, you're going to use it towards the mortgage to pay extra towards it. But notice you're still investing while paying extra towards the mortgage. The goal is that in 8 years, you've also paid off the mortgage faster, but you've also been investing that 10, 20% into your retirement accounts also. So you have a healthy nest egg while you also have 0 payments now due on your mortgage. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's the idea. So you don't stop investing, right? That's not what you do. You keep investing 10, 20%, but the leftover money, because you will have a surplus, you put that extra towards the mortgage. That way you're done a lot faster. Once you're done with this mortgage, that means almost 1/3 of your income is going to be free for you. So meaning you keep investing, don't ever stop investing into your retirement accounts, obviously, but then the rest of the money, you get to enjoy it on whatever you want guilt-free.
Okay.
That's what I would do in that case. That's and actually that's a course I'm working on, the program I'm working on right now. So for now, you get it for free.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. One quick question about back to the ACORN account. So, I know you said cut my losses. When you're saying cut my losses, are you saying quit putting money into it and just let it grow on its own?
What I mean by
take the money out.
What I mean by cut my losses is, for example, when I say losses, right? And you only lose money on investment when you sell it, right?
Yeah.
Because basically in this case, even if you're positive, you're gonna have like a loss in cash flow, because basically you'll have taxes due, right?
Yeah.
On the profit. If you have a loss on it, then obviously you'll have losses. You have negative capital gains. So that's the whole idea. So when I say cut your losses, I mean you sell everything, you close the account, basically. You grab that money and transfer it over to what you're going to be doing now, which is either the 529 account for your kids or into your taxable account. But you personally, Rick, you shouldn't have a taxable account because with your current income, you don't make enough money to fully max out a 401k and a Roth IRA. Does that make sense? Because the 401k is around $19,500, and then the Roth is $6,000. So together, that's around like what, like $26,000, $27,000. So you don't make that much. You're not going to invest half of your income, obviously. So you're able to just say, okay, if my employer says I'm going to give you a 5% match of your salary per year, I'm going to invest the maximum amount of money to get the full match. If I still have leftover money from my 10 to 20% money that I put aside for investing, I'll use that money to invest it fully into my Roth IRA. Tommy, why don't I just put all the money into my 401k and call it a day? Because basically, if your employer doesn't have, for example, a Roth 401k, the idea is that you're putting your pre-tax money in there, which means once you turn 57 years old, 57 and a half, if I'm not mistaken here, you will be required to start taking money out, if I'm not mistaken here, right? And you'll be taxed on that money because it's pre-tax, meaning you don't pay taxes today, you'll pay in the end. But if you have the bulk of your money, for example, into your Roth IRA, that money is fully yours and you'll never be taxed on it. And it also grows tax-free. Make sense?
Yeah.
So the difference is, for example, let's say 10 years from now, you have $1 million in a pre-tax account and $1 million in a post-tax account, right? They're both for retirement, though. The one that's the Roth option, post-tax, you pay taxes first, that $1 million is fully yours. The one with $1 million that's pre-tax, meaning you never pay taxes on it, only now, you'll have, for example, $700K or $800K, because now the taxes are due. Make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer to put the bulk of my money, for example, into the Roth. But I also don't want to leave the money on the table if my employer is giving me a match. By the way, is your employer offering you a match, Rick?
Yeah, they offering, they giving us 8% match. And so I'm doing 8% too.
Okay. So you got to ask them. Yeah, so you got to ask them, right? You ask them this question: how much money do I have to invest to get the maximum match that you guys offer? Well, Rick, just invest 8%, 10% of your salary and you got the max match. Great. Invest that. The rest of your money, you put into your Roth IRA. Boom. Make sense?
Yeah. Because that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing at my first job. I'm maxing out. And so basically, what I'm bringing home, you're just telling me to take that money and start pumping that into a Roth.
Yeah.
IRA.
But remember, right? Remember, Rick, right?
Extra.
Yeah. Remember, right? You have a budget here. The budget is for investing, you're doing 10 to 20%, right?
Yeah.
Pick a number, you do 20%, okay, great. So out of that 20%, whenever you get paid, for example, $4,000 between, well, I'll use your money, $2,500 multiplied by 20%, I know I have $500 for investing. So I'm going to go ahead and invest, for example, the amount of money I need to invest per month to get the maximum match at the end of the year for my company. Whatever money is left over from the $500 budget, I put it into my Roth IRA. It's still the same 20%, okay? Because your limit is $500 for investing every single month. Make sense?
Yeah.
There you go. That's the core idea. And then if you want to get into investing into like retirement accounts for your kids, that's fine also. Okay. Not retirement accounts. I mean the college accounts. Okay.
All right. And okay, one quick question. I just want to ask you this. So you don't believe in I understand, what ifs and coulda, woulda, shouldas, but you don't feel like you should do both for your kids, like set up the education account and try to get them started early in an investment into investments? No.
Listen, man, you're not trying to raise good kids. You're trying to raise good adults, right? And good adults have the ability to earn their own money, right? So the goal is you want to enable them the possibility to earn more money. So if my mom tells me you have money here to go to college, great. But no 18-year-old is going to convince me to give them, for example, a stock and investment account to play with. If they haven't been researching the stocks, or for example, they want to start a business, that's none of my business. Because when you're first starting out, obviously not going to go that great for you because you got to try different things out. So I'll set them up, for example, for the college account, education, right? And I'm not sure if you can use a 529 account for courses or books, stuff like that, but potentially you may be able to. But it's all about education. And the goal is, for example, right? Because you're 48,
48.
right? Yeah. So you're 48 years old. By the time your last kid is out the house, which is at age 18, maybe, who knows, you'll be like around 66 years old, right?
Yeah.
So remember, I don't want to be morbid here, but the average person lives until they're 75 years old, right? The goal is, right, you have life insurance. You have life insurance or no?
Yes, I have life insurance. I have life insurance. I have basically have a policy for each of my kids.
How much do you pay per month on life insurance?
Well, I got it early for my twins, and so it was fixed, and
do you have whole life or term insurance?
I have term life.
Okay, awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah, and so I'm cool as far as that.
What's the size of your policy, Rick?
I got 100,000 for each for my 3 that I have right now, and I have to set up something for the new baby.
For $300,000, right?
Yes.
Okay, so $300,000.
Yeah.
But you make $2,500, right?
Yeah.
So times, okay, so that's $30,000 a year divided by $300,000. Yeah, that's not bad. You're basically investing 10 times your income. That's fine. How much do you pay per month though? How much is it?
The one policy is it's $18 a month.
Yeah.
$18.80 a month, and then the one for my daughter is $30 because at the time when I got it I was older.
By the way, question here. You have what you're talking about is updated beneficiaries, right? So the policy is in your name. Yes. So if you die, they got the money, right? That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now the idea is, right, and how what's the term for? Is it 10, 20 years?
No, what I have to look at that again.
That's the most important part.
I think my first one is if I'm not mistaken, because like I said, I haven't looked at it again. Matter of fact, to write that down to look at it again. I want to say when I signed up for it, it was an age limit, and then once I get a certain age, it gets cut off.
Yeah, that makes no sense. So what you want to do is find out what the term is for. Usually you want to do 10, 20 years. Maybe 20 years is fine. That's what I go for. But the idea is that 20 years from now, right, you're fully debt free. You've been invested for 20 years. You'll have a good amount of money actually in there. So if you do pass away, let's say at year 21 and there's no policy, you still have a hefty investment account. But what you want to create is self-reliant adults. Because if they depend on you or your money or whatever, that means when you're gone, what are they going to do? You know what I mean? So the goal is, hey, there's this money while I'm alive to go to education, right? Once you're gone, you establish a trust, or for example, make sure you have a will, by the way, so the money can be used for the right things. Because if you have a kid, for example, that just went off the rails and is doing like drugs or anything crazy, you don't want to enable them any further. So it's more like you can put in the will, hey, they don't get any money until they either get clean, they get a degree, or whatever else needs to be taking place, or they get like a mental evaluation or whatever. Make sense?
Yeah.
All those things that you put in the will.
Okay.
What
do you feel about trust though? Like where I can, trust, you can kind of spoon feed them money. So much money. You can allocate how much money they get either a month or
like
whatever.
What, welfare? Like welfare? Look, man, what you want, you're not gonna be. Look, I follow Warren Buffett's plan, right, which is based and kind of like a little bit like Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey wants to control things after he's gone, which is fine. It's his business. But Warren Buffett's more like, I want this money to be used, right? That's the idea. Okay. By the way, remember, right, Rick, it's not like you're gonna die tomorrow. right?
Yeah.
If God allows it, right? So you'll be able to be around to see if these kids are responsible. So if these kids are responsible, they grow up to be like just good members of society. And remember, right? You're most likely not gonna leave them like $1 billion, right? So it's not gonna be like some crazy amount of money. If you want to make the money be like, okay, this money can only be used to maybe pay off your mortgage or do whatever you want to do, that's fine, right? But while you're alive, you'll be able to see exactly what's going on. So your will can constantly be updated as things changed, right? So if now it's been 10 years and you're like, you know what, Rick Jr. is acting kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? Or he's hanging around with the wrong crowd. Let me just make some adjustments here. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah,
you gotta talk to an estate. Have you spoken to an estate planner?
No, I haven't. That's the reason why I was asking, because I mean, the research that I was doing, they were saying, I mean, you listen to certain people, they saying, a trust, you can set it up to the point of if they are acting a certain type of way, because like I said, I mean, you can't predict anything. I mean, they could be doing fine up to their 20s.
How much money do you think you're gonna leave behind? Honestly.
I mean, hopefully I'll leave them at least 50,000.
Yeah, so why this whole convoluted nonsense? You know what I mean? Don't complicate this too much. I think usually trust is a little bit more expensive. The idea is you want to talk, instead of talking to me or, for example, anybody else, talk to an estate planner about this stuff. And not just one, but 3 or 4 or 5, and compare your options. Okay? And make sure they get paid a fixed fee, not a percentage of anything. Right? That's the whole idea here. So then they tell you exactly what is actually going to happen. And by the way, when you pass away, if you follow this plan, you'll have a lot more than $50K left over, right? Because the whole goal is that, let's say, for example, the mortgage is paid off, you've been investing 10% of your money into retirement accounts. The goal is when it's time to retire, you'll have a good chunk of money in there. And the way you should use a retirement fund is basically you just take out 4% of that portfolio every year so you don't run out of money. That's the idea. So if you have, for example, $100,000 invested in there, you take out 4%. That's it, $4,000 a year. Take that money out, you use it. Boom, 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 boom. But that way you can ensure that you don't run out of money. And remember, okay, might not sound like a lot of money, but the idea is when you don't have a mortgage or any debt, and you have also an emergency fund and a great, for example, investment account, and you also have Social Security coming in for you and a little job that you actually want to continue working, that is going to be a lot of money because you don't need any money because you don't have any crazy bills. Make sense?
Yeah, and that's my goal. That's my goal.
When you're looking for things, Rick, simple usually works best. Don't try to, you can't control everything from beyond the grave. It usually doesn't work, right? So just make sure you establish a good plan. Speak to an estate planner, plan it correctly, do some estimates to find out exactly how much money you potentially might be leaving behind, and then just talk to your kids also, right? Prepare your kids for this stuff. Don't be one of those parents that's kind of like, oh, hello, right? Make sure that they're on the same page with you. Everyone understands. Leave a letter behind. Make sure you have, for example, the estate planner so your kids don't end up fighting each other if things go the wrong way. Make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but take it step by step. Don't complicate it.
Well, I mean, you're right. You try to, you grow up a certain type of way, and so you try to.
You can't do that.
Eliminate some of those. Yeah, I mean, I know I can't eliminate everything. I'm not being that naive. But what I'm saying is, I don't want them to have to do some of the stuff that I had to do in order to make it. And so I just want to try to leave them a little something.
But again, you're acting as if like by the time you're like, bro, look, Rick, by the time you're like gone, that's like 25 years from now, or like 30, 40 years from now, right? You're like, it's 2021, there's medicine everywhere. So you'll be like 80, 70 years old or whatever. Your kids by that point should not need you or your money. That's the whole goal. So don't think about what you went through.
I think you misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to take care of them. I'm saying, like, when I grew up, my dad left at high school, so I had to step up as an adult. And
Okay.
so I did things that, could have put me in jail, and we just leave it at that. And
Yeah.
so what I'm saying is, I want my daughter to go to college, but
Yeah.
when I want her, I want her to at least have something, like, just if I could
Oh,
just
for college.
yeah, if
Yeah.
set something for her to college, and once she graduates, I want to at least give her, like, say $5,000, $10,000, to be like, boo boo, you can find your job, get you an apartment, furnish it, and so you won't be in debt. And so
Okay.
all you have to do is start investing. Because I talk to her since she's been 10. We talk about investments every day, every night.
You
we
wanna,
come home,
you
we
wanna,
sit
what you
down.
wanna, what you wanna do,
Yeah.
Rick, is you wanna read the book. It's called Smart Money, Smart Kids by Dave Ramsey. But I think
Okay.
listen, man, if you are and your wife are on the same page and you're bringing in $4,500 per month, right? If you multiply that number by
Yeah.
0.05, that means you're able to invest around $225 per month towards a 529 account for college. Times 12, that's
Okay.
$2,700 a year, right? By the time your kid turns, for example, 18 years old, for example, at a 10% return, that account is going to have somewhere around $135,000. I think you're misunderstanding the amount of money you're going to have in this account if you start off very early.
Yeah, see, that's okay. Yeah, and that's what I'm. Yeah, and that's probably what my problem is. I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're going to have a good amount of money. And the idea is, right?
I mean,
let me
for
tell
the
you this
baby,
too,
I
right?
know she's gonna have a.
Yeah, but even for example, your other kid, right? Because she's about to be 13, so we're talking about, for example, 8 until she it's 6 until she turns, for example, whatever age. She's gonna have $22,000 in there, 22,000.
Okay.
Right, so it's a good a chunk of money. Now you gotta also do your research. There's also another book. It's called I think it's by Anthony O'Neill, and it's called Debt Free Degree. It's also It's also by the Dave Ramsey people. But the basic idea is when a kid is going to college, they do community college first. They apply for a lot of scholarships. They get a job while they're there, and they're able to fully graduate 100% debt free. A lot of the times without daddy or mommy's money. It's all about the right way to do things. Because if you don't go to the fancy school, do community college first, get the gen ed first, the gen education credits first for cheap. You pay for those. Then you go to the 4-year school, transfer those credits. You just have 2 more years, and you have a job. You also have some savings. You also have scholarships. You're able to pay for that stuff, no problem. Your money is just a bonus, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So just make sure, again, you're not trying to raise good kids. And a lot of times, for example, when you grew up that way, when I grew up my certain way, a lot of the times we want to remove all the adversity from our kids. The adversity in your life, for example, your dad leaving, my dad not being around and dying or whatever, the adversity in our lives is what made us who we are. So the adversity that your kids are going to face is what's going to make them also who they are. Having to work while they're in college, having to pay some of it also is going to help them also. Does that make sense? Even if I have all the money to pay for college for my kids, I'm not paying all of it.
Okay.
Even if I wish somebody did that for me, guess what? I have ownership over my degree because I knew I had to pay a portion of it. Same thing for your kids. Hey, you got to get a job. Okay. You got to apply for over 100 or 200 scholarships. Okay, you got to get good grades so you can get scholarships also, and you got to go to community college first, so then that way you can get things for a lot cheaper, unless you get like a full ride somewhere else. And then if we have anything left over, I can potentially help you out with that amount, but you have to be doing everything else. So that way when that kid graduates, they have ownership. They know what adversity is. They know what hard work is, and they appreciate the sweat and tears. Make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
that's the whole idea. I think as long as you keep being, for example, a great father and all this stuff, your kids are not going to need you. The overall goal is to make sure that your kids only need you, for example, emotionally, not financially. Like it's just a bonus that you can actually help them with school, but not take care of everything that they have. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, you're saying I'm trying to spoil them too much.
Yeah. And it's not trying to spoil, right? But it's the idea, and a lot of us suffer from this. Okay, my mom did, not my dad because he wasn't around. But the goal is usually you see this a lot where people come, for example, from very, very hard backgrounds, and they grow up to be responsible adults and they have some extra money to go around. They want to buy their kids, for example, the fancy clothes they never had, all the toys they never had, get them all the money for school. And then you create this environment for a kid that has no problems. So if they're not solving anything, everything's going to hand to them. There's no adversity there. Adversity, by the way, means like problems and like hardships and stuff like that. If there's no hardship there, there's no appreciation. That's how you have kids, for example, grow up where they don't appreciate anything. They don't know the value of money. They're ungrateful. They go to drugs. They do a whole bunch of weird stuff. But when there's just the bare necessities, dad loves you, mom loves you, but you got to work, you got to do this, there's appreciation there. That's why I tell you, read Smart Kids, Smart Money. Because although I don't agree with anything Dave Ramsey says, he has raised some amazing kids. So, make sense?
Okay. Smart Kids, Smart Money.
Yeah. Smart Kids, Smart Money, and also Debt Free Degree by Anthony O'Neill. He's also a part of the Dave Ramsey squad. So that's also going to help you get some perspective, for example, on how to make things work when it comes to like making sure your kids graduate fully debt free. But as long as, for example, if you guys are on the same page, right, and you're investing 20%, that's $900 per month, right, on a $4,500 income. So times 12, that's around $10,800 that actually gets to be invested, if you think about it. So now that means $10,000, and let's just say, for example, over 8 years, when you're done with this mortgage, if you do things correctly, you'll have $135,000. 20 years from now, well, you're 48, so 2. That's 50 plus 10 plus 5. 17 years from now, when it's time for you to actually retire and so on, at 65, you're going to have somewhere around $481,000 in that account.
Okay.
20 years from now, for example, when you're 68 years old, you're going to have around $680,000 in that account. And this can all be, for example, just in your retirement money if you do things correctly. So every year,
and when
you should be able to max out the Roth IRA and also have leftover money to put, for example, also into your 401k. If you are investing that 20%, if you do 15% plus 5% for the kid, that's also fine.
Okay. And so when you saying 600,000, you're just basing that off of me opening up that Roth IRA?
When I'm saying $680,000, I'm basing it on a 20% of $4,500 in income per month. That's what I'm basing it off. And if you put it, for example, into the Roth, fully tax-free. If you put it, for example, into the traditional IRA, which would be, for example, almost a third of the money, you'll have the same amount of money, but on a portion of that, you will have taxes due on it. But the bulk of the money let me just do some quick math here. Just for the Roth, you'll have, for example, just in the Roth, $370,000 fully tax-free. Potentially.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So
because once you get older, once you get older, you'll be able to invest more too, though, because this is the catch up.
No, I was just, when you were saying that amount, I didn't know if you was factoring in my job 401k plus the
everything.
Roth IRA.
Everything.
Okay.
It doesn't matter because all that matters is basically the percentage you're investing of your income. So it's just 20% you're investing. So that's where that money comes from. Okay. I'm telling you, man, it's a whole, whatever lifestyle you think you're gonna have a different lifestyle if you do things correctly. 8 years from now, you have no mortgage, so that's already $1,100 that you're not paying anymore per month. That's extra money to do whatever you want with.
Yeah, and that's the goal, and that's my goal to do, and that's why, like I said, I that's the reason why I took the refinance and dropped it down to 15 because, listen to how you were saying it, I was like, that does make sense, because I was thinking, well, 30 years, blah, 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 but when you
it's a long time, man. It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time, And then, too, how much money I'm saving, too, on interest.
Yeah.
Because I think he said I'm saving about $80,000 to $90,000.
Yeah.
Especially on interest.
Yeah. So usually when I have a video actually coming out just now, just uploaded if you're in the channel, about refinance and everything like that too. and just go into a calculator online, factoring everything, making sure the math makes sense. But people get things mixed up, right? Because people think that the overall goal is that you want to go 30 years with this whole mortgage. No, the overall goal is to get this thing taken care of, paid off, so that way you don't have to worry about any defaults, having to worry about shelter costs anymore. Because once you don't have that, it just liberates you to a whole different level. Because $1,000 in payments per month times 12, that's $12,000 extra you have now to do whatever you want. That can be an extravagant vacation. That can be a new car. That can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, and I can take that money and invest that money.
If you want to, but you're already doing 10, 20%, right? So it's all about enjoying life at the same time. So if you're already investing, that's working out, and now you have extra money, use that money to enjoy yourself, you know?
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, because your wife. Like I said, you gotta take care of your wife. Gotta take care of your kids.
Balance the two. Yeah, just balance the two.
Exactly.
But nah, man, I do appreciate your help and sitting down talking to me.
I appreciate you, man.
I like people giving me different aspects on stuff to think about. So
yeah. Like listen, man, my goal is never to tell you what to do, it's to teach you, right? So I hope the one thing to go away with from this call is just like how to do things yourself, right? If you want to know something about trust, talk to an estate planner about that stuff. If you want to learn about investing, just run the numbers yourself, and you're gonna find everything out there. But whatever numbers you have in your head, man, you are underestimating the power of compound interest, my friend.
I see that. Yeah, but like I said, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Welcome to the long-term team. These calls are not a one-time thing. So if you want to call back and talk to me again, feel free to reschedule the call while they're still free. Thanks for watching, and peace out, bro.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys, so that right there was Rick, and I have no idea where I was like, thanks for watching. But I'm tired, man. But it is amazing to see the power of compound interest. This guy is like, I'm going to be investing for 15 years, and I think I'm going to give my kids like $20,000. No, you're going to have a lot of money in there. It's just when I say 5%, people don't think it's a lot of money, but it is a lot of money. 5% invested over 10, 20 years is a lot of money. And you know, a lot of the times what we want to do with our kids is set them up for everything and remove all the adversity, but that's not what you want to do, because the adversity made you who you are. That's the whole goal. But what fun I had talking to Rick. Great guy, great story, and it is amazing. Good to see that he didn't go to the illegal side and did things the legal way. Happy to see that, guys, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to call me directly, join me on these calls. The link is down below. Schedule a call today. On top of that, also subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. And if you want to support the channel, guys, well, this channel does not make any money, so make sure to like this video to support the channel even more. That's the idea. Just like the video, like the video. On top of that, also DM me on Instagram, Tommy Bryson. Before I go, more content like this, here's another video right here. Click my face right here. And as always, peace.